we already did news. It's actually time for Rex Brandstatter Senior Talk. So let's go to him after I thank the sponsors. Senior Talk is brought to you by the Solon American Legion and Senior Benefits. How are you doing today, Rex?
It's a great day. I'm here. I'm looking forward to the next 40 minutes or so for sure. Thank you, Molly. My pleasure to be here. Good afternoon, everybody. This is time for Senior Talk. This is a great place to be for the next few minutes or so. What a deal we've got going today on a beautiful day like this in the middle of August in Iowa. I'm telling you that the heat is down, the humidity is down, and it's a wonderful day to get out there and go for a walk or go take a lawn chair and sit under a shade tree and just watch the world go by. Or get busy and do whatever you do and work all day and then go have a root beer. That's what I plan to do today. Well, greetings and welcome to Senior Talk. A great day to be here with you and a great day to be a senior. Happy to think that you took time out of your busy day to sit back and spend a little time and see what we can cook up here. And I encourage you to grab a sandwich and a nice cold root beer and just let's just go with what we can do here today. I'll bring a lot of things each and every week to things that might be important to you. They might not be, but they might be important. You might hear it and say, that would work great for my friend down the street or a couple of guys at my coffee deal or, a couple of my lady friends, Mrs. Smith would say, might be interested in something like that. So that's what this is about, sort of the kick, what do they say, poke the bear type of thing, kick the can down the road, and that's not it. Poke the bear, kind of wake up people. That's my goal, just kind of get you to wake up and say, we really should look into that. Maybe we should do that, or we've already done that, but I wonder if our son has. I wonder if he's set things up for our grandkids and stuff like that. That's what Senior Talk is about, and that's what we try to do. And I do my best every week to bring a lot of important things to you for your consideration. That's what we do. My name is Rex Brandstatter. I'm a 76-year-old real estate broker, and I just love working with and talking to seniors. And trust me, I deal with seniors. My friends, 98% of my friends are seniors. That's probably a pretty high guess, but 90% are seniors. So the kind of safety in numbers, we're all dealing with the same thing. We'll talk about those things too. Well, I help lots and lots of seniors sell houses, other properties. I help them find housing. I take lots of calls for, do you remember this guy or that family? Where do they live? Type of thing. That's what I do. Best. I do my very best to hook you up with an attorney if you're looking for an attorney to help you solve some problems like maybe having a will drawn or something like that. I'll give you some. I'm available. I'm licensed to purvey real estate information, maybe some advice. Everything else you hear here is if I talk about insurance. Trust me. I'm not an insurance guy. I would do my best to bring up some things, but I want you to call your insurance rep to get the real professional information from them. And that's what this is about, trying to stir up the mud here, getting you to act in a positive way. Well, let's see what we can do today. I'm just overjoyed with this weather. I think this is just great. Matter of fact, I just was listening to The Big Show on a different radio station, The Big Show, which is all about, for a couple hours, about farming, and I don't know enough about it. I hear on that corn prices, and they're going to have a bumper crop. It's up 16%, their cost estimate, or the yield estimate, which is not good news for farmers because it can drive the price down. Now they say farmers are probably going to need to store grain in order to get it. So lots going on, all right? Well, part of their spiel, and I don't mean to call it a spiel, they were talking about, they're broadcasting from the Iowa State Fair, and they said that yesterday's tractor pull was a full house, and they said today tractor pull at the state fair is the big tractors, the big guys. And they said lots of women and men with their respective tractors there. They said the crowd, the line is 3 times longer than yesterday. So the tractor pull at the Iowa State Fair is an absolute big deal. And I've been there for part of it, never the whole thing. So if you're on the way, you better get there. If you're already there, why, congratulations, you're going to have a great time at the Iowa State Fair. I know a lot of people who have been to the fair. I know people who are at the fair today. What a great time it is for that. Well, I've come to the conclusion, and I do this is by visual, that so many seniors are out there on e-bike with the electric bikes, the battery bike. It's becoming a huge outlet for newfound enjoyment for seniors. That's just what I said. It's becoming a newfound enjoyment for seniors. Actually, don't worry if you haven't ridden a bike since you were a kid on your paper route or on our way to school in 1958 or 62 or whatever it was. you'll remember within 1 second how to ride a bike, okay? And rather than buy one of these bikes, I suggest you rent one, because you don't really know what it's all about, so why barge in and buy one? Because they range anywhere from $800 online for whatever you would get there, up to $5,000 and $6,000, depending on, you get what you pay for, obviously. But trust me, folks, if you're listening today and you're an e-bike, didn't have one, and tried one out, now you have one, folks, they're going all over. I know friends who've loaded them up and gone to Sioux City and ridden on the Sioux City trails, the south part of Des Moines Trail, St. Louis Trail, all over the country. They take their e-bikes with them, and they're like newfound pioneers, and I think it's wonderful. I think it's just great, and I don't know the ins and outs of all of them. Some of them you pedal to augment the charging and things like that. They're not easy to transport. You have to get a carrier on the back of your car. I was out at Corwin's Mall one day, and a pickup truck pulled in. There was a man, I assume man and his wife, in the front there, and they had 2 e-bikes. And they went around back, and they got out and kind of got ready to go, and it looked like, and they put a couple ramps down, and they backed those e-bike or run ramp down the back of the pickup truck, and the man grabbed the back end of the e-bike and pulled it back there, and they both got on and rode away because there's trails out there. And they might have been from, I don't know, Elkade or who knows, but they're doing it. It's a big thing. So go rent one, get on the internet and see who rents them around here, and go rent one first and try it out and see if you like it. That's the way to do something like that. All right. I got a good story for you. See what you think of this. These are the kind of things that anybody can get into, but in this case, it happened to be a relative, and he is a senior. All right. A senior relative of mine relates this. In other words, another relative of mine, talking about another relative of ours, he relates that his brother and wife recently sold their home on the East Coast. After many, many years of being in business, they both had businesses and been there, done that, and he's a year older than me in school, so he must be 77, going on 78. So he and his wife have grown kids, and they decided to, you know something, we've been on the East Coast for a long, long time, decades. We want to do something different. Well, they're best friends. They're the best friends, man and wife, live in Oregon. So the relative and his wife looked at each other and said, all right, that does it. We're moving to Oregon. So they moved to Oregon, not only to be next to their friends, but to be next to their daughter and her family. In other words, the grandkids. Let's be honest about it. So they sold their house on the East Coast, moved to the West Coast. Well, the week or a few days before they got there, their really, really good friend in Oregon passed away. Not long after they got to Oregon and all this kind of thing, their daughter came to them and said, we're getting transferred. So here these folks are, these seniors who were well set in their ways and well set in everything, didn't need any more real challenges or big bumps in the road. Here they are, they're living on the East Coast, and now they're living on the West Coast in a city of Portland, which he wasn't particularly fond of for a lot of reasons, but he could figure that out. But he went out there for his grandkids, and now they moved. So he and his wife are out there, and they honestly don't know anybody. I suppose they know the neighbors by now. But they don't have any past experience with them. They don't know anything about this or that. They don't know how to get around too good. So I don't know if this is a warning to you. I don't mean it that way, but and they certainly could not have realized that the neighbor, their best friend, was going to pass away. Nor did they know, nor did their daughter and her husband know that they were going to get a transfer. So these things happen. So what do? When you're young, you deal with it. All right, well, what the heck, Will? All right, well, we don't want to go back to where we were. Maybe we move down to Florida. Maybe we go to Arizona, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we move back to Iowa, where they're from. They're from within about 15 miles of where I'm talking to you from. So all this comes around. They don't really know what to do. They're kind of scratching their heads. And it's not a place they would have picked out due to a lot of circumstances in Portland, but there they are. So the rest of the family is kind of like, we feel bad and like, huh, what? And shocked about it. But then we realize that we're going to talk about this in a minute, who made the decisions. All right. A senior lady advises, we went to the treasurer's office in Johnson County to pay our taxes in full on our house. This is just last week. Between last week's show and this, we paid the guy, in other words, the county, and he said, well, you cannot pay right up until today. And she said, well, we're standing here right now. We want to pay our taxes in full. And he said, okay, you're going to pay your tax in full. That'd be your coupon number 1, coupon number 2. You can get up to June 30th that we just had. You'll owe from July 1 on, and you can't pay that until next fall. No, we're standing here right now. What is the problem here, ladies and gentlemen? Was it the man down at the Johnson County tax office, treasurer's office, didn't want to take the money? No, because they always take the money, but they can't because they haven't the assessments for next year haven't figured out. They haven't done the budget. In Iowa, we pay taxes a year behind. A year behind. I know it doesn't make sense, but deficit spending, that's the way it is. So if you march down there today, right now today, you get in the car, right after Senior Talk, by the way, you go down to the administration building, right there where you get your license plates and your, not your driver's license, but your license plates and pay your taxes, right there, DMV office. Go right next door to the treasurer's office and tell them you want to pay your taxes. That's as close as you can get is June 30th. So I explained that to her, and I've explained that Iowa real estate taxes for 51 or 52 years in the real estate business, and 99% of the people don't understand them because they don't realize you pay a year behind. That's the way it is. So anyhow, I kind of explained it to her. She said, oh, okay, thanks. I don't really think she understands it, but we had to march on. I explained it 4 or 5 times, and I know she didn't get it. Oh, well, it is what it is. A senior man advises this. This is an interesting story here. I keep an eye on the stock market and my money. He says, Rex, you always talk about making your money work for you because you work hard to get what you have. And I truly know that, and I mean that. Me too. I'm in the same boat. You work hard for your money at your career or job or jobs, or whatever it might be, over the years, and you do your best. You work hard for that money. You've worked hard and scraped and scratched and mildly successful, wildly successful, halfway successful, whatever it might be. We all worked hard for that money. And truth be known, your money can work for you. You bet. You got the money, whether it's putting in a, quote, savings account at the bank or CDs or investing in stock markets and different things, real estate, all kinds of different investments. Your money can actually work for you. And he said, I just wanted you to know that I pay a lot of attention to our accounts, meaning he and his wife, and I've learned a lot by reading online and listening to friends. All right, now, listening to friends. All right, that's the only thing I would say about that is just because your friend bought a bunch of P&G stock was a good thing. Everybody's different. So just because your buddy went down and bought, my brother and I bought some Krispy Kreme donut stock when they first came out. He had this brainstorm, and I said, okay, let's do it. We bought initial penny, I don't know, they were close to penny stock. We bought, I'm going to guess, $2,000 worth. And 2 weeks later, he called me. He says, this stuff is out of sight. Let's sell, make a bunch of money. So we did. Yeah. And after we sold, of course, it rocketed up for a long, long time. Of course, I don't know what it is today. I haven't looked. It went down to about 0. But that was what worked for my brother and I at the time. So if I would have told someone, I never told anybody that till now, first time. I don't even know if my wife knows we bought it. If she did, she would have taken the money anyhow. So that's what worked for my brother and I. Might not work for you. You might prefer to buy something that pays dividends. You might prefer just to put it all in CDs where there's no volatility. As a senior, you don't want a lot of volatility. You don't want it to go down when you're a senior. You work hard for it, and all of a sudden you frittered it away on some stock market hot tip that you got from your buddies at the coffee shop. You can do whatever you want, folks. I'm not here, but just be careful, all right? So by listening to friends. I listen and I read a lot, the guy says. He's retired. It makes me feel good, and I know I have helped my position just by paying attention. He says that I'm not even a college guy. Good for him. So what this man is, he's a man in the street, blue-collar investor, so to speak. He's looking out for his money, and part of his plan most likely would be, I'm gonna say he has some CDs, so whenever they would come due, he looks down the trail to see if they need that. Or should we go back into a 6-month or a 10-month or a 12-month? That's about as far as they'll go, by the way. Should we get all this, that? What should we do? Well, he says he reads a lot and could be with books or magazines or online, and he listens a lot. That could be to maybe he listens to financial shows on TV and things like that. Man, it seemed like he was all smiles about this. So congratulations to him. My shout to the rest of you is get with it. You've worked all these years. Just because you're a senior doesn't mean your investing days are over. You've got some money. Go sit down with a planner. Go sit down with your banker. See what products they have. Just because they work at a bank doesn't make them an investor guru. Not at all. You can look for licensed investment people. CFP, Certified Financial Planner. CFP, Certified Financial Planner. You can Google them. Maybe your buddies, any of your friends, you work with a financial planner. See who they work with. And just because you meet with them doesn't mean you have to do business with them. Go sit down and talk to them. See if they ask you questions about yourself. They can blow a little bit about themselves and their company. But let's see what they ask you questions about you. What are your goals? What are your objectives? All right? Before they even say they can't tell you first day what's good for you because they haven't talked to you. Don't get in a hurry, but get started for sure. A senior lady says to me, all I read about Social Security is it may not be there in the future. What do you think? I said, well, I'll give you my opinion. My opinion is it will be there. And Social Security is on record as saying 2034, 2036. Things could get dicey if they don't make some changes. Meaning that they, if you're getting $2,000 a month now, and the national average is $1,950. So if you're getting the national average, we'll call it $2,000. That starting in 2034, 2035, if they don't make changes, maybe you might get $1,800 or $1,500. Not good. Now, my observation is, for sure, that for another year or two, 10,000 people turn 65 every day. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to retire, but it does mean you can go down and sign up for Social Security at age 62. You can sign up for Medicare. And if you are collecting Social Security benefits, what do? What's the first thing that comes off the top? Before you get your check, they take out, what is it, $104 or $124? I forget. I've never seen a check. Goes right to the bank account. But I do to get the readout. So that could they could lower that program, which was started in 1965, is in financial trouble because of the cost of hospitalization, things like that. So my observation, this is just me, this is just Rex, is that if in fact they lower the benefits from Social Security, that they will augment that and hand it over to Medicare and Medicaid. So you'll get less, but it will also enhance the Medicare and Medicaid programs, which, if you're a senior, that's good. So, but we want the best of everything. We want more in the Social Security check. By the way, we won't have the increase yet. The projected increase is usually a percentage. Last year it was 2.2%, something. 4 or 5 years ago we got 8.9. That was a great year, and so that's where we're at. So we'll know pretty soon what the projections are, and of course it takes effect on January 1. But we'll know usually by September or October what the projections will be. And if I read a lot of these things too, so when I find out, I will lay it on you, folks. But if you know that, remember now, of Americans who are getting Social Security, I think there's 62 million people getting Social Security. 50% of them, that's their only check. And the average is $1,950, I think it is. That means that half people get less than that and half get more. So if you're getting less, that's not good. And a friend of mine who didn't need to sign up, he signed up at 62, which is what Social Security wants you to do, because then they pay you less, and not only pay you less, they'll pay you less for all the rest of the days you collected. They don't force you to, but if you call them and ask them, sure, come on in and sign up. He signed up because he says, I'm going to get it while the getting's good, while they've still got money. Well, I thought that, I didn't say anything to him. I just said, oh, good for you, Bob. But it didn't go. It's still going, so he's getting the minimum. For his age, he signed up at 60. He's getting the minimum, which is he did. The interesting thing is he did not need it. The only reason he signed up was because he thought it was going to go broke. He's going to get all I can. I paid in all these years. I'm going to get all I can if I only get 6 years worth. Well, that's been a long time. So be careful before you ever sign up for Social Security. Sit back, think it through, look at all their programs, all that they have to offer, all the different layouts for aging, and their charts on if you wait this long or wait that long, what you could do, how much you're going to get, and things like that. And not only that, think of, if you're married, think of your spouse. So if you sign up for the minimum and then you Growing up in the 50s, you remember this term, bite the dust, the old Western shows. So if you pass away, that your wife maybe would get the most. And how do you do that? Well, you have to look into their program. Social Security is a very complicated thing. You don't want to rush it if you don't have to. It just if you need it, you need it. I can't go there. But if you don't, or you can modify it a little bit, go online to Social Security payments, Social Security strategies, and look it up. I absolutely suggest that for sure. A senior says, we looked around and found our insurance papers. Thank you for making us do that, Rex. Oh, okay, good. That's what I want you to do. We have not found the title to our boat trailer. What do we do? If we get pulled over or we want to sell it, what do we do without the title? I said, well, there you go. You don't know where it is. So this, I can't tell you any more than what I know, which is look high, look low, look in the boat, for God's sake, look in the boat. Look at anything you take boating with you, like or a cooler or a baggage you keep the keys to the boat in or something like that. All those kind of things. Look in there. Maybe you inadvertently put in there. And if you can't, if you worn out everything you can that you need to do that, you can get a duplicate title. You need to go down to the Johnson County DMV again, 900 South Dubuque Street, where you get your car license plates and tell them your story. Turn yourself in. We are nuts when we can't find our boat trailer. Well, what is it? On your phone, you might want to take a picture of it, and you might want to see if there are numbers on the inside of the trailer. They'll have a record, by the way, if you had a license, and they'll have a record of it on there. Oh, that's G9WG4281. They'll have that record down there. If you don't, you might have to go back and take a picture of the numbers on stamped on your trailer or the inside rail somewhere. Well, that's for sure. So yes, you can get a duplicate, and I suggest you do because honestly, if you sell your boat trailer and the next guy comes to buy it and he goes down to get a license plate, they're going to say, "Where's the title to the boat trailer?" Because you have to have a license plate. Oh, I don't know. I bought it from Joe Schmo down the street. He didn't have one. Now that guy's in hot water. He's got to figure this out. So A, don't buy one unless the guy gives you a title, because you're going to have one. And B, you can't sell one unless you have a title. So go on down. This pertains to your car, your auto, your truck, your pickup truck, your go-kart, your motorcycle, I don't know, side-by-side, whatever you have to have a license, boat trailer, motorcycle. You got to have a license. You got to have a title. Okay. All right. Speaking of a title. Well, where is the title? We've never had the title. Well, if you owe money to the bank's holding it for you. They're not going to let you have title to it. In other words, clear ownership as long as you owe them money. Because if you sell it, kept the money, then they're out. They're pretty stingy, aren't they, these banks? That's the scoop. Get on. And I want you to remember this. Of all the things, this came from a really, really good talking from my dad when I was like in high school. He says, Rex, nobody is in charge of you or your matters and your affairs until you're 18. Of course, he's in charge of them except you. He says, once you're on your own, your insurance, your bank accounts, your investments, your lifestyle, all those things, your marital status, lack thereof, whatever it might be, you are in charge of that. So set your course, always knowing when you look in the mirror, you're going to see the guy or the lady, the girl, in charge of that person. So he marched me in there in the bathroom one day, and he's looking in the mirror, and who do you see? I said, I see Babe Ruth. Because I'm a baseball guy. I played high school ball, and I didn't think I was hot stuff. I just I still love baseball. Watched a couple games last night. And I said, I see Babe Ruth. He said, you wish. And he said, who do you really see? I said, well, I see me. He said, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's the guy you're looking at right there. That's the guy that will make you or break you, make you famous in a good way and make you famous in a bad way. Give yourself a good business, good family values and decisions. That's the guy you're looking at right there. I've always remembered that. So remember this, that nobody's in charge of you, except your wife, of course, except yourself. All right. Get organized is what I'm trying to say. Now, I want to kind of help you with a few things. There's a lot going on all over the county. If you drive around, of course, we've got the summer, the summer road tune-ups and things like that. But there's a couple of big projects going on. And I talked about maybe a little bit last week, but there's the redo going on at the Iowa River Power Landing. Used to be the restaurant at there. There were guys up on the roof. They've got big trucks going in there now. Folks, that is going to be a destination again like it used to be. It was a great place while it was there, a wonderful place. Great people ran it, owned the business and ran it there. It was just great. My hat's off to them for sure. Now it's changed hands. The building has changed hands. So it's going to be a new ownership and new strategy or whatever they're going to do. But if you went in the University of Iowa Alumni Magazine, the guy who went to the university, he talks about it in there. He's been on TV. He plans to make it a destination. He plans to rehab it to make the building. And the building, honestly, the building hasn't changed much since it was built at the turn of the century. It has changed very, very little. So I don't know that he's going to do a lot on the outside. I don't know. I haven't seen his plan. But they've had lots and lots of architects there. They're electricians. And they're putting up on job site trailers now. There's a lot going on there. And we probably won't get to see much because it's all going to be inside. That could be the beauty of the thing, that you won't see much on the outside. I'm sure that maybe, I don't know this, but maybe do some tuck pointing and some things and decor and change this or that a little bit. But the inside is where the action is going to be. So down the road in a couple years, I would surmise, we're all going to be surprised. If we're still here as seniors, if we're still here, we might get invited to an event down there and go to it. I'm really looking forward to it. That is for sure. Let's see what happens. But the other project is this. One that's a little more for the eyes, and that is on the Coralville Strip. If you know where Hardee's is on the Coralville Strip, is the Walgreens on the corner, First Avenue and the Coralville Strip, Hayden Fryway and the Coralville Strip. Just west of that intersection, just west, go west, young man, to about 100 yards, and on the left-hand side, you'll see several buildings have been torn down, and there's more to come down. Several buildings. It looks like Berlin after World War II right now, but they've already removed the pile so far. But there's more to come down. So Walgreens will be there, Midwest One Bank will be there, and a whole lot of stuff in between there and the old Frowines Tallgrass building is coming. That building's not coming down, but between there, a lot of it's coming down. It's going to be all new. I'm going to call it Coralville Urban Renewal. How's that sound? And the master plan shows some housing, yes. Shows some apartments, yes. Shows some commercial spots, yes. Office spaces, yes. Condominiums, yes. Restaurant spaces, business spaces, yes. Businesses that would face the Coralville Strip to take advantage of a drive-in, I don't know about a drive-through, but at least pull in there to take advantage of the traffic surge, yes. It's going to be a big deal. There's a large group out of Texas doing this. I don't know who they are, but the planning stage and everything, put all the pieces together down there took 3 to 4 years or more. It's a huge infrastructure deal. So it's a huge thing for Mid-American Energy with electricity, Coralville water, sewer, and Mid-America for gas. Lots and lots of things going on. That area has a big challenge in that it's in the 100-year floodplain. And so any building that's built down there has to be built 1 foot above the 100-year floodplain. So you're going to be buildings down there that might be underground, street level parking, and then you got to go up steps or an elevator to get to the first floor, if it's office building, so they can park underneath the building on street level type of thing. Going to be all kinds of neat things going there, and I think that area is going to expand. I think there'll be other buildings that are not part of the original thing. I think it'll expand, or there'll be other redevelopers go in and do that once they see what's going to happen. I know that's what's going to happen. It needed that area. The Coralville Strip has got some issues. We'll just see what happens. I'm all excited about both the restaurant and I call it Southtown, Coralville Southtown is what I call it. That's what's going on there. So on the Coralville Strip, you'll know. You can't miss it. You'll think you're in a World War II zone. That's what's going on in a good way. That is for sure. All right. Let me ask you a question. These are pretty personal, but let me ask. How is your driving? How are your driving skills? You. Not your brother-in-law, not your sister-in-law, not your wife. You. So if you're Mrs. Smith and listening, how are you doing? If you're Mr. Smith and listening, how are you doing? You want to rat out your wife? Go ahead. If you want to rat out your husband, go ahead. Bob, you can't drive with a hoot anymore. You forget things. Where you're going, you're driving. I see you got a couple scratches. Well, Marge, you're just as bad, blah, blah, blah. Get it on the table. Get it on the table. Don't keep that as a secret. Get it on the table. All right? How is your, and I'm talking to you, true ability to walk without a cane or a stabilizer of some sort? You know, I see people. I saw a lady get out of a car the other day. I'm going to guess she was in her low 90s, low 90s, high 80s, low 90s. She's an elderly person. And she got out of the car, and I'm telling you, to go 20, 30, 25 feet to the door was a half a day adventure. Leaned on the hood of the car, or pushed down on the hood of the car with her fingers, and then leaned up, kind of walked along the wall, hanging onto the wall of the building. But yet she drove to this office. And where she came in from, she drove down the Coralville Strip. And she can't, if they held fire, she couldn't get out of the building. Should this lady be driving? Somebody should have a talk. Her kids, if they're having kids or family or neighbors or somebody, should be having a talk. That person had no business driving a car. Absolutely not. And not only that, she didn't have a cane. She's hanging on to everything in sight. Folks, do not be embarrassed if you need an assist, a cane or a walker. Do not be embarrassed. As a man, I can tell you this, the last thing a man wants to admit is he needs a cane. Right up there with can't drive anymore. Man just doesn't want to do that. Well, get over it. Look out for yourself. Again, look out for yourself. Get that assist. Get that assist going. All right? Don't be embarrassed about it. It is what it is. The good Lord's letting us be here. Why not live in a little comfort? If that's what it takes, that would it take. I was watching the updates on the Iowa State Fair the other day, and I just happened to look at that, and all the kids there that are showing cattle and hogs and cows and sheep, they look like they're, and I got thinking, they are. The answer is they are, Rex, you big dummy. I said, they look like they're 15 or 16. Well, some of them aren't even that. They just look so young. So my question to you, we're in Iowa. Did you go up showing animals at the county fair or the state fair? Did you take your farm projects to the county fair or state fair? Were you involved in farm activities? Were you in 4-H? Did you show animals here at the Johnson County Fair or your home county fair? Do you remember how much fun it was and all the kids you met back then, and you decided you were going to be a farmer and you went off to college and did something else? You decided to be a farmer, but you couldn't afford to get in the farming business, which is a real issue, of course, but it has been for a long time. So I just had a lot of fun. I still have a lot of fun watching that, the purity of that, the cleanliness of that, and not in the horse stall. I don't mean cleanliness in the horse stall, but I mean the kids with animals there and people, judges, and what a wonderful thing that is. I just think that's a great thread of America, and more power to those kids, those 4-H leaders, all those projects, different groups that go there. A wonderful time, and truly, folks, the Iowa State Fair is the showcase of that, for sure. Well, the Johnson County Fair, you started in about 1854. 1854. Just a few years after what we call the old Capitol was built. And it was held, what we now know as the Pentecrest. Well, there weren't 5 other buildings. It was the old Capitol. And there were several buildings around it right close to it. There were a livery stable and a place for horses. And it was heated by wood. So there were, I think, 7 or 8 fireplaces, maybe more fireplaces in the building. If you go through and tour, by the way, the Old Capitol is open for tours, and you can go down there. Maybe you go online and look Old Capitol Tours Iowa City, and if you go down there on the east side towards downtown, they have hours on the door. You should take a tour of the Old Capitol. If you've never done that, if you lived in Iowa City and never been through the Old Capitol, I want you to turn around and tell the other person to kick you in the. Remember, I said turn around first. Anyhow, you need to go down there. Now, the students are gone, but they're on the way back, so now's a good time to go down because you can get a parking place. Walk over the Pentecrest and walk in the old Capitol. There are people down there giving tours. It's free. You'll see the most beautiful reverse staircase you've ever seen. You'll see where the governor met. You'll see where the Senate, Iowa Senate met, the House of Representatives. Remember, it's 1854. So the fair started in 1854. Old Capitol was there at the time. It was held at the Pentecrest. It was the opportunity at that time for farmers to come to town with their farm goods. That was what it was all about. And they sold and traded and devoured fruits and vegetables and meat and fish and chickens, and brought a couple cows to town if they didn't live too far away. and it was a meeting place for farm, and that's what the county fair got. And the first year they were, quote, organized. The first year they were like organized, we'll say a couple years after they all decided to meet on the second week in July or whatever it was. They decided to get organized and have some things, and the county fair showed a net profit at that early stage, $7.58. So, which doesn't sound like anything at all, but 1855 or 56, it was something, you know. I don't know if they intended to make money, but whatever happened, happened. They sold this or sold that. I don't know. So, and since then, you know, the county fair has been out by City High at the fairgrounds out there, and they had auto races out there in the early 1900s. It's just been a great thing. And, of course, now, and then it moved down to what we locals know as Wardway area, down at High 16 and 218 on the southwest corner there, just north of the airport. It was there, and then it moved down to where it is now after the war. It's been down to where it is now after World War II. And they keep improving it. It's a great place to go. So that's a little rundown on the fair. So what can we do in the next week as seniors? Well, the next week as seniors, we can do what we always do best. We can get up every day, hopefully, no, not everybody. Hopefully, get up every day and strike out and do what you want, hopefully, and knowing that all the hard work you put in has yielded you the opportunity to go do this or do that. If you do nothing, that's your choice. If you decide to go to a movie because it's a hot day, and you always thought when you were a kid going to a movie theater was fun because you go with a couple of your buddies down to the Varsity Theater downtown Iowa City. You sit there, 2 or 3 guys sit there and slouch down in your chairs so just the back of your head was on the top of the seat and sit there and watch the Jerry Lewis movie, folks. That's what we wish you could do these days. Well, you're retired, you can go do that. Have at it. That's a great thing. You got an old car, get it out and drive it around. Go for an ice cream cone and drive out there. It's a great time to be a senior. And you got grandkids. It's a great, spend all the time you can with them, that is for sure. So that's what I bring to the table this week, folks. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I hope you enjoy it. I had the honor this morning of being in the color guard for a World War II veteran, and we paid him his due respects with military volleys. And with that note, I thank each and every one of you who have served our country, all of those who are serving today as we speak to make this the great country so guys like me can sit here and talk on the radio so we don't have to talk about the Fuhrer or anything like that. So that's the story from KCJJ Studios. Great time to get out there and see the Iowa countryside. I'm glad you tuned in. This is Rex Brandstatter. Feel free to call me on my senior line, 319-330-5534. 330-5534. Give me a call. We'll see you. I can help you. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. So long.
Hi, this is Tiffany at Senior Benefits. Are you confused?